I started working at Brightline Office Supplies on a quiet Monday morning. The building was old, but the people were loud. Everyone seemed to know each other already. I was the new one. I kept my head down and learned fast. My boss, Mr. Harlan, liked results. My coworkers liked jokes. Most of those jokes were about mistakes people made. I laughed softly when I had to, but I listened more than I spoke. I noticed something early. When someone failed, the room filled with laughter. When someone worked hard, the room stayed quiet. I decided to stay quiet too. I kept a small notebook in my bag. At first, it was just for tasks and deadlines. Then it became something more. I wrote dates, emails I sent, and instructions I received. Not because I planned anything, but because being new made me careful. One coworker, Jason, laughed the loudest. He laughed at late reports and missing files. Sometimes, his eyes landed on me. I smiled back, calm on the outside, nervous inside. I told myself to focus. Work speaks louder than noise. By my second month, I understood the office rhythm. Jason talked. Others followed. Mistakes traveled fast, while effort moved slow. I worked in data entry, checking orders and reports. It was simple work, but details mattered. A wrong number could delay a shipment. I double-checked everything. Jason sat across from me. He often leaned back and watched screens that were not his. When someone asked a question, he answered loudly, even when he was wrong. People trusted confidence more than facts. That worried me. One afternoon, Mr. Harlan asked about a delayed order. Jason pointed at me and said, "Clara handles those files." The room went quiet. My heart beat fast, but I stayed calm. I opened my notebook and checked the date. I had sent the order 2 days early. I said so gently. Jason laughed and said, "She writes everything down like a student." Everyone laughed with him. My face felt warm, but I did not argue. I emailed Mr. Harlan the record that night. No reply came, but the order was found. No apology came either. I learned something then. Laughing hides fear. Records hold truth. After that day, Jason's jokes became sharper. He called me the recorder and tapped an invisible notebook when I walked by. Others smiled, unsure whether to join him. I stayed polite. I answered emails on time. I helped when asked. I kept writing things down. One morning, I noticed numbers changed in a shared file. They were wrong. I checked my notes. The original file was correct when I sent it. I saved a copy and wrote the time. I did not accuse anyone. I fixed the mistake and sent a short message explaining the change. Later, Jason said loudly, "Some people fix errors they made and act like heroes." His eyes met mine. I felt small but steady. I knew the truth. At lunch, a coworker named Maya sat with me. She whispered, "You're smart to keep notes." That small kindness mattered. It reminded me I was not invisible. That night, I organized my notebook. I added folders on my computer too. Dates, versions, emails, changes. I felt strange doing it, like preparing for a storm without knowing when it would come. Still, I slept better. Calm grows when you trust your steps. The storm came quietly. Mr. Harlan announced a review of team performance. Promotions were possible. The room buzzed. Jason smiled wider than usual. He started staying late, talking louder about his ideas. He mentioned projects I had worked on, using the word "we" often. 1 week later, a report failed. Important data was missing. Mr. Harlan was upset. Jason spoke first. "Clara uploads the final versions," he said. His voice was smooth. I felt every eye turn toward me. I stood slowly. My hands shook, but my voice did not. I said, "I upload what I receive." I opened my email and showed the timestamp. The file I received was missing data. I showed the earlier message where I asked for confirmation. No reply. The room stayed silent. Mr. Harlan asked Jason if he had sent the final file. Jason laughed softly and said maybe he forgot. That day, no one laughed at me. Still, nothing changed. No apology. No warning. I understood then. Truth alone was not enough. It needed time and proof. I kept working. I kept recording. Jason became careful after that. He smiled less at me. He joked less around files. But I could feel his eyes watching. I stayed steady. I arrived early. I left on time. I did not gossip. Maya started asking me questions about tasks. Others followed. Quiet trust began to grow. I helped without showing pride. Inside, I felt stronger. One evening, I stayed late to finish a backlog. I noticed a shared folder renamed with my project title, but the content was changed. My notes showed the original name and time. I saved screenshots. I did not send them. Not yet. As I packed my bag, Jason walked by and said, "Hard work doesn't make you important." I looked at him and smiled calmly. "I know," I said, "but it keeps me honest." He laughed, but his laugh sounded thin. At home, I placed my notebook on the table. It was full now. Pages of dates and facts. I did not feel angry. I felt ready. Whatever story was being told at work, I had my own version written clearly. And one day it would be read. The next week felt heavier. People spoke softly when Mr. Harlan passed. The review period was close. Jason started sending emails late at night, copying many people. He used big words and bold lines. I read them carefully and save copies. Some emails mentioned tasks I had completed, written as if he led them. I did not reply with anger. I replied with facts. Short sentences. Clear times. Attached files. One morning, Mr. Harlan asked me to help prepare a summary report. It was important. I agreed and worked carefully. I made sure every number matched my notes. I sent it early and saved the sent message. Later, Jason stopped by my desk. "You like proof," he said, smiling. "It won't save you." I looked at my screen and said, "It saves time." He walked away laughing, but I noticed his hands were tight. That afternoon, the printer jammed during a meeting. Jason joked loudly that the recorder probably logged that too. A few people laughed. I smiled softly. Inside, I reminded myself of my plan. Stay calm. Stay clear. Truth moves slowly, but it arrives whole. Maya warned me during lunch. "Jason is telling people you slow projects down," she said. My chest felt tight, but I thanked her. I asked her not to defend me. "Just watch," I said. That week, tasks piled up. I handled more than before. I wrote everything down. Dates, requests, changes. I sent short updates to Mr. Harlan at the end of each day. Not complaints, just progress. One afternoon, a client called, upset about an error. Jason answered first. He promised a fix and passed the task to me without details. I asked for clarification by email. No reply. I fixed what I could and noted what I could not. When the client called again, Mr. Harlan joined the call. I calmly explained what I received and what I completed. I shared my screen and showed the record. The client relaxed. The issue closed. After the call, Mr. Harlan nodded at me. Jason stayed quiet. That night, I wrote one line in my notebook. Consistency builds quiet respect. I believed it more than ever. The office changed after that call. People asked me before making promises. Jason stayed loud, but his words felt empty. Still, he tried one more time. During a team meeting, he presented a chart. I recognized it. I had made it weeks ago. He spoke as if it was new. My heart raced, but I stayed still. I waited. Mr. Harlan asked a question about the data source. Jason hesitated. I raised my hand slowly. "I can answer," I said. I explained the method clearly and simply. I showed the saved version with the date. The room grew quiet again. Mr. Harlan looked at Jason, then at me. He thanked me and moved on. No drama. No shouting. Just a shift. Later, Jason said, "You embarrass me." I replied. I answered a question. That evening, I felt tired but calm. I realized I was no longer afraid of being laughed at. Laughter fades. Records stay. I did not need to win. I needed to be clear. And clarity was becoming my strength. Review day arrived. One by one, names were called into Mr. Harlan's office. When Jason went in, he walked tall. When he came out, his smile was gone. My turn came last. I sat across from Mr. Harlan, hands folded. He thanked me for my work. He mentioned my updates and my calm during pressure. He said, "You're reliable." That word felt heavy in a good way. He asked how I manage stress. I told him the truth. I keep records so I don't panic. He nodded. It shows. No promotion was announced that day. But something else happened. I was asked to train a new hire the next week. Jason was not. The office noticed. Whispers followed, but they were softer now. Some were kind. At home, I closed my notebook and placed it in a drawer. I did not need to write as much anymore. Still, I kept it close. Trust is built slowly and so is truth. I was learning both. Training the new hire felt strange. I spoke more than usual. I explained systems clearly. I shared habits that helped me stay calm. Write things down, I said. She nodded eagerly. Jason avoided my desk. When he spoke, it was brief. I did not enjoy his discomfort. I felt no joy in it. I felt steady. One afternoon, Mr. Harlan asked for a process review. He wanted to know where errors came from. I shared patterns without names. Dates and steps only. He listened closely. The next day, new rules were posted. Clear handoffs. Required confirmations. Shared folders with version tracking. The office felt lighter. Fewer jokes. More focus. Maya smiled at me and whispered, "You changed things." I shook my head. The truth did. As I packed my bag, I realized something important. I was no longer reacting. I was shaping my space with honesty and care. Whatever came next, I was ready. My records had done their job. Now, my confidence was doing the rest. The weeks after the new rules felt calmer. Work moved smoother. People followed steps instead of shortcuts. I noticed fewer errors and fewer raised voices. Jason stayed quiet, focusing on his screen. I did not watch him closely anymore. I focused on my tasks and the new hire I was training. One morning, Mr. Harlan asked me to join a small planning group. It surprised me. I had never been invited before. In the room, I listened more than I spoke. When I did speak, I shared clear ideas with simple reasons. No one laughed. People nodded. After the meeting, I felt proud, but also careful. I knew trust could fade if I grew careless. That night, I updated my notes again, not out of fear but habit. Jason passed my desk and said quietly, "You think you're better now?" I looked up and answered honestly, "No. I think I'm prepared." He walked away without a word. I felt a small sadness for him. Being loud had once been his shield. Now it was gone, and he did not know what to use instead. A problem surfaced near the end of the month. A large client reported mixed orders. It was serious. Mr. Harlan called an emergency meeting. My stomach tightened, but my mind stayed clear. Files were opened. Emails were checked. The new system showed timelines clearly. Step by step, the error traced back to skip confirmations. Not mine. The record showed who rushed and who followed process. No names were spoken at first. Just facts. The room was silent as everyone understood. Jason looked down at his hands. Mr. Harlan spoke calmly. "This is why we have systems," he said. "They protect the work and the people." After the meeting, Jason stayed behind. He looked tired. "You planned this," he said softly. I shook my head. "I planned to do my job." For the first time, he did not laugh. He nodded once and left. I sat alone for a moment, breathing slowly. Karma did not shout. It arrived quietly, like truth always does. Work continued, but something inside me shifted. I felt lighter. I no longer carried fear to my desk each morning. I trusted my skills. I trusted my voice. Maya told me others noticed. "They say you're solid," she said. The word made me smile. One afternoon, Mr. Harlan asked me to review a proposal Jason had written. It surprised me again. I read it carefully and gave honest feedback, both good and bad. I sent it back kindly. Later, Jason stopped by. "Thanks," he said, not meeting my eyes. "You didn't have to help." "I did," I replied. "The work matters." He nodded slowly. That night, I thought about how things had changed. I had not pushed him down. I had not raised my voice. I had only stayed steady while storms passed. I wrote one last line in my notebook. "Respect grows where patience lives." Then I closed it. I felt ready for whatever chapter came next, inside or outside that office. Change came sooner than I expected. A new department opened, and a lead position was announced. Mr. Harlan encouraged several people to apply, including me. My hands trembled as I read the email. I thought of my first day. The laughter. The fear. The notes. I applied anyway. I focused on facts, not feelings. During the interview, I spoke honestly. I talked about systems, calm thinking, and teamwork. I did not mention Jason or the past. I talked about growth. Days passed. The office buzzed again, but differently. When results came, my name was called. I was chosen. Jason clapped politely. I met his eyes and nodded. No pride. No anger. Just peace. That evening, I packed my desk. I found the old notebook at the bottom drawer. I held it for a moment, then placed it back. I would keep it, not as armor, but as a reminder. I earned this place by staying true to myself. My first day as lead was quiet. I listened. I asked questions. I supported. People responded well. Even Jason followed directions without comment. At lunch, Maya hugged me. "You deserve this," she said. I believed her. Later, Jason asked to speak with me privately. My heart beat faster, but I stayed calm. He apologized. Not loudly. Not perfectly. But honestly. "I was scared," he said. "You made me see myself." I nodded. We all learn. When he left, I felt no victory. I felt closure. That night I walked home slowly. The city lights felt softer. I realized the story was never about revenge. It was about becoming someone I respected. I did not win because someone lost. I won because I stayed patient, prepared, and honest. And that kind of win stays with you long after the laughter fades. Leading the team taught me new lessons. Responsibility felt heavier than tasks. I had to be fair, clear, and patient every day. I kept my habits. I wrote plans. I tracked progress. I listened before speaking. Some people tested me at first. They waited for mistakes. I did not rush. I corrected errors gently and praised effort openly. Slowly, trust grew. Meetings became calmer. Workdays felt shorter. Jason kept his distance, but his work improved. He followed steps. He asked questions instead of making jokes. I noticed the change and acknowledged it. "Good job," I said once. He nodded, surprised. One afternoon, a mistake happened under my watch. I felt a familiar fear rise. Then I breathed and opened the records. I explained the issue clearly to Mr. Harlan and suggested a fix. He agreed. No blame. Just solution. That night, I realized something important. Records were no longer my shield. My mindset was. Calm thinking had become part of me, not just something I practiced. A company audit was announced. The word made many people nervous. I remembered my early days and felt ready. I organized files, confirmed timelines, and guided the team gently. During the audit, questions came fast. I answered slowly and clearly. When I did not know, I said so and showed where the answer could be found. The auditors appreciated honesty. Jason was asked about a past project. He paused, then followed the system and showed the record. It matched. I felt proud, not of myself, but of the change. After the audit, the office relaxed. Mr. Harlan thanked the team publicly. He thanked me privately. "You lead with clarity," he said. At my desk, I opened the old notebook again. I added one final note about the audit, then closed it. I no longer needed to write every detail. The structure around me now held the truth. Growth, I learned, is when tools turn into habits, and habits turn into character. News spread that a new branch would open soon. Some people would transfer. Others would stay. I was asked to help choose the team. The responsibility felt big. I chose based on effort and consistency, not volume or charm. Jason was included. I knew some would question it, but my reasons were clear. When I told him, he looked shocked. "Why me?" he asked. "Because you changed," I said simply. He nodded slowly. "I won't waste it." Preparing for the move was busy but smooth. The systems worked. People worked together. Laughter returned, but it was kinder now. One evening, as I turned off the lights, I remember the girl who once felt small at the same desk. I smiled. She had not disappeared. She had grown, and she had done it without raising her voice. The new branch opened with quiet success. No chaos, no blame, just steady work. I felt proud watching the team settle in. Mr. Harlan visited on opening day. He shook my hand and said, "You've built something solid." The words meant more than any title. Later, Jason thanked me again. "You could have shut me out," he said. "I didn't need to," I replied. At lunch, the team shared stories. I listened, smiling. Respect filled the room, not fear. That evening, I went home early. I cooked dinner and sat by the window. For the first time in a long while, I did not think about work after hours. Peace had replaced pressure. I realized then that karma is not loud. It does not punish. It teaches. And if you are willing to learn, it lifts everyone, not just one person. Time passed, and the story settled into memory. New challenges came, but I faced them with the same calm heart. One day, the new hire I once trained thanked me. "You taught me more than work," she said. I smiled. "So did others once." At my desk, I found the notebook again while cleaning. I flipped through its pages. Fear, patience, proof, growth. I closed it gently and placed it back in the drawer. I no longer needed it, but I would keep it, not as a reminder of laughter, but of strength. The truth had spoken without shouting. Karma had worked without harm, and I had become someone I respected. That I knew was the real reward. Years did not rush by, but they moved with purpose. The office changed faces, systems, and goals. Through it all, I stayed steady. New staff joined, and I became the person they came to when confused or unsure. I listened the way I once wished someone had listened to me. One afternoon, a young employee asked why I always asked for confirmations in writing. I smiled and said, "It keeps everyone safe." I did not tell the full story. I did not need to. Jason had grown too. He was quieter, more thoughtful. He no longer chased attention. Instead, he focused on results. Watching that change reminded me that people are not fixed. They learn when truth gives them space. Sometimes, laughter still echoed in the office, but it sounded different now. It was not sharp. It did not point. It included. As I locked my desk one evening, I realized I was no longer carrying the past. I had carried it long enough for it to teach me. Then I let it rest. A company awards ceremony was announced, honoring long-term impact. I did not expect anything. I attended to support the team. When my name was called, I froze. My legs felt weak as I walked forward. The words spoken about me were simple: calm leadership, clear systems, quiet strength. I held the award carefully as if it might fade. I looked at the faces in the room. Some were new. Some remembered the old days. Jason clapped with a small smile. Maya wiped her eyes. In my short speech, I thanked the team. I spoke about patience and honesty. I did not mention laughter or fear. Those chapters were closed. After the ceremony, I went home and placed the award beside the notebook. One showed where I had been. The other showed where I was. Both mattered. That night, I slept deeply, without worry or replaying old moments. Peace had finally become normal. Life outside work grew fuller too. Confidence followed me home. I spoke up more. I trusted myself. When problems came, I faced them with the same calm approach. One weekend, I met an old friend who remembered me as quiet and unsure. She looked surprised as we talked. "You seem different," she said. "I am," I replied. I did not become louder. I became clearer. Back at work, challenges still appeared. Deadlines tightened. Systems needed updates. But fear did not lead me anymore. Preparation did. Sometimes, I thought of the early days and felt grateful. Without those laughs, I might never have learned the value of proof, patience, and self-respect. Pain had shaped me, but it had not hardened me. It had guided me. I understood now that unfair treatment can break you or build you. The difference is how you respond. I chose to respond with care. On my 10th year at Bright Line, Mr. Harlan retired. At his farewell, he pulled me aside. "You grew into your role," he said. "But more than that, you changed the culture." I thanked him, feeling humbled. Culture was not built by speeches. It was built by daily choices. When he left, a new director arrived. The system stayed. The values stayed. That was my quiet legacy. I cleaned my desk that evening and finally removed the old notebook. I did not throw it away. I placed it in a box at home, safe and honored. It had done its work. As I walked out, the office lights dimmed behind me. I felt no need to look back. The past no longer held me. It had prepared me. Looking back now, I understand the full story. I was treated unfairly, yes, but I was also given a choice. I could have fought loudly or walked away bitter. Instead, I stayed calm, worked hard, and trusted the truth. I kept records while they kept laughing. And when the laughter faded, the records remained. Not to shame anyone, but to guide everyone. Karma did not arrive as punishment. It arrived as understanding. It exposed mistakes gently and made space for growth. I became stronger, not because others fell, but because I stood firm. Wiser, because I learned patience. More respected, because I respected myself first. If someone reading this feels small or unfairly treated, know this. Stay honest. Stay steady. Gather facts. Let your actions speak. You do not need revenge. You need truth, time, and courage. That is how I found my voice. And that is how I kept it.